Svastikum Havamahe Kavim Kavinamupamashravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspada Anashrinvannotibhisveda Sadanam Prano Devi Saraswati Vajebhirvajinivati Dhinama Vitriyavatu Ganeshaya Namaha Saraswatyai Namaha Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Om Saishwaraya Vidmahe Sathya Devaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Sri Sairam. Humble pranams at the lotus feet of our dear Bhagawan, Shri Sathya Sai Baba. What a wonderful occasion, solemn evening of Sunday. We have a great Satsang and the second episode of our chosen series, Divyanubhuti. Divya Anubhuti. Divya, the divine, the celestial. Anubhuti, experiencing the Lord, the universal Lord. Divya Anubhuti, Divyanubhuti. And all of us in the state have adopted the theme from presence to omnipresence. Today, we gather to contemplate on a theme that resonates deeply within the hearts of all of us for every spiritual seeker. That's from presence to omnipresence. When Bhagavan Shri Sathya Sai Baba walked amongst ourselves in physical form, His divine presence was a tangible anchor for all of us, for our faith. We could see Him, we could hear Him, we could experience His immense grace in person. Yet, the true evolution of a devotee's journey lies in transitioning from the comfort of that physical form to the realization of His formless, omnipresent reality. It's a journey of understanding that the Master has not left us at all. Rather, He has expanded from a single form entity to every atom of this universe, and most importantly, into the sanctuary of our own hearts. Swami always says and used to say that I reside in each one of your hearts. He always used to say that I am God, you are God, but you don't realize that you are God. So on this theme of from presence to omnipresence, to guide us through this beautiful spiritual transition today, we are blessed to have amongst ourselves an eloquent speaker from Prasanthi Nilayam, Brother Anosh. May I please invite Anosh to please come, offer flower at the Lotus Feet of Bhagawan. Brother Prem's journey of dedication began in 1999 when he joined Bhagawan's University at the Brindavan campus from his undergraduate studies, subsequently completing the master's degree in chemistry at the Prasanthi Nilayam campus in 2004. Blessed to remain in Prasanthi Nilayam after his graduation, he joined the Radio Sai in July 2011. Today, he is a vital part of the Sri Sathya Sai Media Center's content team. Many of you will recognize his voice from his deeply reflective live shows on Radio Sai, including the afternoon Satsang, Answering Booth, Shravanam, Mananam, Nidhidhyasanam, and the Bhagavad Gita series. He also shares Swami's profound teachings through the Sai Mahakya series on the Sri Sathya Sai Tamil channel. Having been personally blessed by Bhagawan to address global gatherings, he is a regular speaker at the Satsang hall in Prasanthi Nilayam. With his deep spiritual understanding and years of immersion in the Sai atmosphere, Brother Prem is beautifully equipped to help us look inward and connect with the eternal, omnipresent Sai. Without further ado, let's welcome Brother Prem Anosh to the podium to share his insights from presence to omnipresence. Let's all welcome him with a big hand, please. Om Sri Sairam.
I offer my most loving pranams at Bhagwan's lotus feet. I pray to Swami that he gives all of us the understanding that it is Swami who speaks and it is Swami who listens through each one of us. Respected elders, sisters and brothers, Sairam to all of you. Thank you for having me here and blessing me with this opportunity of Satsang with all of you. Perhaps I'll start with an experience of a devotee that happened sometime in the 1950s. There was this couple. The husband was a railway station master in the town of Salem in Tamil Nadu. So the wife happened to receive a picture of Swami from one of her friends who told her that this is Sathya Sai Baba. He is a great Mahavatar, he is a divine descent, and he lives in Puttaparthi. So this noble lady was very inspired. She goes to her husband and says, we should go to Puttaparthi and see Sai Baba. The husband dismisses her, saying that, I don't intend to go after Babas. Then the lady says, no, he is not any Baba, he is an avatar. He is a divine descent. The husband says, look, for me, my duty is worship. I see my God as my work. I don't intend to go after these people. If he is really an avatar, then he should come to us. Why should we go to him? Right? If he is a divine descent, he has come in our midst, he should come to our town. Then we'll see. And he dismissed this proposal to go to Puttaparthi and they got on with their life. A short while later, the station master gets a phone call from the district magistrate. And the district magistrate tells that Bhagwan Shri Sathya Sai Baba is visiting Salem. He is going to be staying in the collector's bungalow. So I am sending an invitation to all the government officials. Whoever wants to come and have his darshan can come. So he goes back home and he tells his wife, looks like now we'll have to go and see him because he has come to Salem. So they decide to go along with the whole family. They get into a tonga. They go to this beautiful, idyllic looking collector's bungalow where Swami is staying. Very picturesque setup, lovely trees and gardens and this English bungalow in the middle. So it's a very beautiful setup. They're standing there. They already feel something. After a while, Swami comes out, comes straight to this man and calls him by his name, some Iyer. Hey, come here. So the first thought, he has been informed. Right? He has been informed about me, he thought. So Swami calls him inside, then takes him into the room, speaks to him for some time, and comes out and tells the family, I came, now you come. Right? Now you have to come to Puttaparthi. And very beautifully, Swami picks the most appropriate analogy. Swami says, your husband is like the engine and the rest of your family are like bogies. All of you will come to me now, following him. But what a profound message. He comes to us so that we can raise to his state, isn't it? He comes to where we are so that one day we will be able to go to where he is. Around the same time, 1950s, there was this very revered monk who was visiting the city of Bangalore. A small girl gives him a photograph of Swami. And this girl very animatedly must have spoken about Swami. So this monk, this Swamiji, was very interested. So he made inquiries around and he made contact with Professor Kasturi, that's Swami's biographer. And he expressed his desire that I want to come to Puttaparthi for 2 days because I am going to Sringeri for attending the Dashara celebrations there. So I can spare 2 days. On the way, can I stop and go? Professor Kasturi is very thrilled because he knows the eminence of this person who has approached him. Because he is not an ordinary saint, he is a disciple of Ramana Maharishi. He has met the who's who of the political landscape, Madan Mohan Malviya, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and Mahatma Gandhi, Vinoba Bhave. And he says, I want to come and see Swami. So he very happily takes him to Puttaparthi. The first audience that Swami gives this Swamiji, Swami says, Amritam, and he's stunned because Swami Amritananda was addressed so lovingly by his guru, Ramana Maharishi. Ramana used to call him Amritam, and the way Swami accosted him, something inside started melting. So he said, I wanted to stay for 2 days, but he ends up staying for close to 75 days. He stays in Professor Kasturi's residence. One of the beautiful episodes which we have read in Satyam Shivam Sundaram, we have heard so many times, is Swami one day asks him in the interview, when you were 8 years old, you did one homam, is it not? Swami Amritananda said, yes, Swami, I did a Ganapati homam. Swami Amritananda was 80 odd years old. So when he was 8 years old, Sathya Sai Baba was not in this form still, right? So Swami asks him, what is the phala that is guaranteed if you do that homa? Like the scriptures say that if you do this ritual, this will be the phala you will get, this will be the benefit you will get. So what is the phala that was promised for that yajna? Swami Amritananda says, Swami, the scriptures say that it's a very rigorous ritual which is done over 40 days. And if it is done scrupulously, you get the darshan of a golden Ganesha. Swami asked, Ochinda, darshan? Did you get the darshan? Swami asked. He said, no, Swami, I was an 8-year-old boy. I must have done so many mistakes in the ritual. So I did not get the darshan. Or perhaps in the scriptures, they just say things to encourage us. And Swami tells him, no, you did it properly. And scriptures don't say things without a reason. Swami said, you did the yajnam, you will get the darshan. And Swami says, behold. And Swami, in his form, gives him the darshan of the golden Ganesha. So this Swami Amritananda was, as I said, was staying in Professor Kasturi's room, right? Swami, in those days, there was no West Prashanti, East Prashanti, South Prashanti. These blocks were not there. Swami had permitted that a few rows of houses be built on either side of the mandir. And Professor Kasturi was blessed with one quarters. and Swami Amritananda was staying with him. And the beauty of this small cottage that Swami had given Professor Kasturi is, behind the kitchen there was a small veranda. If you sit in that veranda, through the window you could see Swami's veranda. And some days you will see Swami taking a walk. Or Swami will just stand over there on the balcony and talk to some devotee. So it's a very special house. You could sit there, sipping your morning cup of coffee, you can have Swami's darshan. So Amritananda also enjoyed that darshan for a few days. So one day he looks at Professor Kasturi and asks, "How much does this window cost?" He says, "What is the cost of this window?" Professor Kasturi takes a look at the window. He says, "I don't think it is even teakwood. It must be a few rupees." Right? It's made of an ordinary wood. Swami Amritananda says, "What do you mean? This is more precious than any gold or diamond. You are able to have the vision of the Supreme Lord." And he said, "This window is the Kanakana Kindi." Right? It is the Kanakana Kindi. A very profound and beautiful reference to a wonderful leela that the Lord played to bless a devotee. The legend goes that Kanakadasa, a great devotee of Lord Krishna, was yearning to have darshan at the temple at Udupi, Krishna's temple at Udupi. And Swami narrates this story beautifully in one of the early discourses. And as per social norms, he is not permitted to enter the temple because he is a low born. Right? He is born in a lower birth. But this devotee's yearning and craving to have the darshan of the Lord is so immense. So Kanakadasa goes around the temple, feeling the wall, hoping that there will be some crevice, some opening through which he can have a glimpse of the Lord. And searching for an opening like that, he finally finds one small vent in the wall. And he starts digging with his fingers, and he makes an opening big enough for him to look inside. And when he looks inside, he realizes he is able to see the back of the idol. It is the back wall that he had come to. And merely seeing the backside of that idol, he starts jumping in ecstasy. And at that very moment, the idol of Krishna turns to give this blessed devotee that darshan that he was so craving for. And that is why one of the very, very rare temples where the idol is facing westward. Everywhere the idol is always installed facing eastwards, right? But for this one devotee, the Lord changed all the norms. And even today, when you go to Udupi, it is special to have darshan through the Kanakana Kindi. But what a beautiful reference for Swami Amritananda to use. Because truly speaking, Swami has done something special like that for each one of us. Because we all are in that sense low born. We do not have the merit to have his sakshatkar. We might have the craving, we might have the desire, but I don't think we have the deservedness. But merely to bless us, changing all the norms, he has created that Kanakana Kindi so that we will be blessed. It is very difficult to quantify the blessing of knowing Swami. This gift of having Swami's presence in our life is so very difficult to quantify, isn't it? If I were to give you a scientific analogy, in high school we all have studied light. Today we know that light is visible light and invisible light. Right? We know that infrared spectrum and ultraviolet spectrum, microwaves in that end and radio waves on the other end. But how did we come to the understanding that there is invisible light? Because of visible light. Because visible light caught our attention, we began studying it and then came to understand that there is something beyond the visible spectrum. Similarly, Swami comes into this perception of ours, which is so limited, and then invites us to recognize Him in the Absolute. But whenever we look at this blessing, two questions arise. One question is, what did we do? Right? What did we do in the past life to get this blessing? That's a question that all of us have, right? I must have been something in the past, because of which Swami said, okay. Once a student was speaking in Swami's presence in Trai Vrindavan, right? Swami's residence in Bangalore. So it was a small gathering, not a very formal one. So Swami had invited one student to speak, and he was speaking for the first time. And in his exuberance and enthusiasm, he said something which Swami didn't approve of. He said, we are all students here gathered around Swami. In the Treta Yuga, we were the Vanaras. In the Dwapar Yuga, we were the Gopikas. And now we have become Swami students. And Swami looked at him and Swami said, wait, who told you this? Pichi pichi matlu. You only make up stories like this. Swami said, I never said anything like that. Right? Because we believe that something good must have happened in our past. Something great we must have done in our past, because of which today we are having something special. But we can't deny that. But it is a futile exercise to go into that. It is a futile exercise to try to find an answer to that question. Swami gives a very simple, beautiful analogy. He says, you have a green gram in your hand. Right? It's a green gram seed. What is the point of investigating from which plant did this tree come? In which region of this country was that plant in? And that plant, from which tree did it come? Which plant did it come? And Swami will tell in Telugu, who is the father, who is the grandfather, who is the great-grandfather? What is the point? Swami says, it is there in your hand. The future of that seed is in your hand. Right? So the two questions that which should rise from this idea that this is such a great blessing. One is, what did I do? Which I said is futile, which Swami said is no point pondering about. The other question is, what should I do now? Having received this blessing, what should I do? What is expected of me? And Swami says, the seed is in your hand. If you plant it, it will give more seeds, and then there will be this plant will dry, another plant will grow. And Swami said, life and death and life and death and life and death. Or Swami says, just put it in your mouth and chew, it is done. The cycle is put an end to. So what do we do with this blessing? There is this very funny story they often say, that there is a doctor who is a very famous doctor in the city. All the affluent people in the city come to him, and he has this fond ambition that his son should become a doctor. So he says, okay, he makes his son a doctor. He studies and qualifies as a doctor. Then one day, one of his father's patients comes to him. Right? The father's patient comes and says, I've been suffering with this disease for a long time. I've been going to your father, but can you cure it? And the son cures it in 1 week. Right? 1 week of medicine and he cures, and he is jubilant. He goes back to his father and says, Father, see, I've become a better doctor than you. Because the patient that whom you could not cure, I cured. And the father says, you fool, who do you think paid for your education? Which means that doctor did not want to cure this patient. What is the purpose of a doctor? The purpose of the doctor is to ensure that you don't need the doctor. If a doctor makes you dependent on him, then he is not a good doctor, isn't it? The purpose of medicine, Swami says, is so that we do not need that medicine anymore. Similarly, the purpose of everything that we crave for is so that we don't need that anymore. The purpose of his presence is in us not needing that presence. The true purpose of his presence is in his omnipresence, isn't it? So when Swami comes into our life and gives us this gift of his presence, the most important thing that we need to do, or what he expects us to do, is to gravitate towards his omnipresence. But as Swami says, first, for that he has to interest you in his presence. Right? When he comes into your life, he needs to excite you about his presence. He needs to interest you in his presence. There is this concept they speak of in Vedanta, in our scriptures. They say we all are capable of finding something or the other interesting in life. Right? A simple example they give is you're walking down the road. There are rocks, there are small plants, there is some filth lying there, but we walk past. But suddenly we see something exciting, we stop and look. Which means some things attract us. Right? It could be a small flower, it could be a fancy object, it could be a car. So in this consciousness of mine, when some objects come in front of me, I get excited. I get a mild attraction towards that. And that is called Rakti. Right? When you feel Rakti towards something, it just interests you. And that Rakti, Swami says, sometimes becomes Anurakti. Anurakti is when there is a little more attachment towards that. Right? When I want something, I am ready to let go of something else. When I'm walking, I see something exciting. No, I'm going to this place. I should not be late for that. Which means there is Rakti towards this, but I have Anurakti towards that. We meet a lot of people, but some people create that Anurakti in us. We get attached to them. Or we look at them as they belong to me. Or we have a fondness towards them. And Swami says, when that Anurakti turns towards Bhagavan, Bhagavat Anurakti is Bhakti. Right? When this ability in this human consciousness to be attached to something slowly turns towards God, it becomes Bhakti. And then Swami says, but it is still Samanya Bhakti. That you're like ordinary devotion. Swami himself categorized it as ordinary devotion. As Swami would say, we're all puja room bhaktas. Right? Swami would say that. Or weekend devotees. When we step into the puja room, we pray, we are lost in bhakti. We step out, we are back to our profession. Or weekends we will come and attend some satsang. The moment we step out, religiously, how we leave our slippers outside, what we hear in the satsang, we leave it inside and go out. Right? So when that samanya bhakti slowly becomes, as Swami would say, ekanta bhakti and ananya bhakti. Slowly it starts becoming ananya bhakti, where there is so much in this world, but I am focused only on you. Then you will slowly gravitate from this presence to this omnipresence. But for that, the first thing that he has to do is attract you. And perhaps there is no better example of that than Swami's educational institutions, which we were all part of. How did Swami attract such wayward, distracted teenagers like us and capture us? It was a beautiful episode that happened when I was a student. It was again Trai Brindavan during the summer vacation. One of the students, interestingly, happens to be from the city of Mumbai. So he had gone home for vacation and he was coming back to Brindavan and he was spending time, and so Swami called him to speak. So this student, when he had gone home, he met a lot of devotees in the Samiti and he heard all their experiences of Swami. So this student came back to narrate the experiences of devotees who are living away from Swami. So he was talking about Swami's omnipresence. And he was telling all of us, brothers, you think Swami is only sitting here, but Swami is everywhere. Everybody is experiencing Swami in their own way. So everybody clapped. Swami was very happy. So after he finished his talk, he was sitting at Swami's feet. And Swami was talking something to him. And this boy was studying masters in Puttaparthi. And Swami was in Brindavan. Usually Swami spends the summer in Brindavan in Bangalore. And sometime in June, Swami will come back to Puttaparthi. So this boy who has to now leave for Puttaparthi to join for his classes, he looks at Swami and says, Swami, you should come to Puttaparthi soon. Right? Don't spend too much time in Bangalore. Wind up here fast and come to Puttaparthi. The moment this boy said that, Swami said, Dekho, till now he spoke about omnipresence. Now he is telling Swami should come there. And that's it. Swami started telling, no unity of thought word indeed. Our boys are like this. So Swami went on, right? You tell one thing, you have no faith in what you say. Why am I not in Puttaparthi? Am I only in Vrindavan? So this boy kept quiet for some time. And then Swami looked at him very sternly. Swami said, Bolo, why am I not there? He went close to Swami and he said, Swami, what to do? Your presence is sweeter than your omnipresence. He said, yes, you are everywhere, but to sit at your feet, to see you, as I said, this is kana kana kindi. Right? I don't deserve it. I have not raised myself to deserve this, but still you are giving this to me. This is special. This is sweet. The great devotee, Raja Reddy, we all have heard of him, right? So this was in the first few years he had come to Swami. Swami was, then Brindavan was not yet built. This was like in the 1950s. And Swami used to stay in a devotee's house in Bangalore. And by then Raja Reddy had become the personal servitor of Swami. So Raja Reddy Garu was with Swami. And he said he had an argument with Swami. Right? He had a altercation and it became very bitter. And he said in that zestful youth, he stormed out of the room. He packed his bags and left. Right? He just packed his bags. He said, I'm not coming back to this Baba again. And he left. So he got into a bus bound towards his town. Somewhere midway, the bus stopped for some refreshments. So he got down, bought some snacks and tea and all that. And he said, suddenly, an unbearable pain in his heart. An unbearable pain. He said it was like a wet Turkish towel being wringed, when you wring a Turkish towel. He said, I felt like somebody was squeezing my heart. And he burst into tears. He started sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. Everybody around was wondering what happened to him. He looks like a young boy and what is bothering him? He said he was in such pain, he couldn't help but catch the next bus and go back to Vrindavan. And he wanted to go to Swami and apologize for storming out. He says because he couldn't bear that separation that he was feeling from Swami. And he says he goes into Swami's room and Swami is sitting down and writing a letter saying, Raja Reddy, how will you leave me and go? Where will you go leaving me, Raja? Swami is writing in that letter. As he comes inside, sobbing like a child, he says, Swami, I am sorry, I left. And Raja Reddy Garu says, I realized then that he is the Hridayavasi. Nobody can come to him without him calling. Nobody can leave him without him deciding that it is time for you to leave. There is this beautiful episode which Dr. Hislop narrates, his first darshan of Swami. He just heard about Swami in the early 1960s. He comes to Parthi. And one of the first darshans, when Swami is coming, all the Western devotees have been asked to assemble in a shed. And Swami comes to interact with them. And he says, as Swami is walking around, he has a very eerie experience. He feels something in his heart. He's not able to explain it. It is not unpleasant, but it is very outwardly, if you could put it that way. Nothing he has experienced before. He says, when a butterfly flaps its wings, the breeze that comes out of that, he said, it felt like something like that in my heart. I felt a certain presence in my heart. And he was given to a lot of meditation. He starts meditating and starts looking within. And he says, when I sought what is the source of this experience, when I looked within, I found Baba inside. He says, I found, he's there in front of me. He's walking around, but I'm able to see him moving inside this heart of mine. And he says, that day I understood, if someone could enter your heart uninvited, if someone could enter your heart uninvited and make you feel his presence, he must be love. He must be the very incarnation of love. And he says that is what seals it for him. I met a devotee a couple of years back. His family came to Swami when he was still studying engineering. Right? He was going to join for engineering in BITS Pilani, if I'm not wrong. And the whole family comes to Swami. The idea is, after spending some time in Puttaparthi, the whole family will take the boy and drop him in his college and return back to their hometown. So they have a blissful 2 weeks in Swami's presence. And then Swami blesses them with an interview and Swami asks them to leave. The family goes from Puttaparthi to Dharmavaram. They're waiting for their train. Says this teenage boy, 16, 17-year-old boy, he says he just breaks down crying like a madcap. Merely pained by that distance after spending that time with Swami to move away. Right? He breaks down crying and his father is not able to console him. His mother is not able to console him. But the father says, don't stop crying, keep crying. Remember this pain. Remember this pain that is coming out of distance from Swami. This will keep you in the straight path. Swami tells in a very beautiful Telugu poem. He says, Pichulu pogotti pichi pattinchunu. Pichulu pogotti pichi pattinchunu, which means he removes madness and he makes you mad. He removes the worldly madness and he makes you mad for God. Kanniru tappinchi. He removes your tears. Kanniri teppinchi. He removes tears and makes you cry. Right? He removes your tears and he makes you cry. Chinmaya Murti Chinni Baba. This sweet Swami is capable of that. This sweet Swami is one who removes your madness and makes you mad, who removes your tears and makes you cry. So that first step of anurakti. But even as he is attracting you, he keeps reminding you, I am not just this body, right? I am not just this physical presence. One of my classmates were narrating that he had come as a part of a youth group and he was sitting for darshan. Swami comes up to them and Swami asks, how many of you in the group? So generally if Swami asks how many in the group, it means Swami is going to call you for an interview. So they are very excited. I don't know the exact number, but they said a number. Swami, 5 of us in the group. Swami said, gee, only 5? Yes, Swami, 5 of us. Why? Is Swami not part of your group? Swami asked. He said, yes, Swami. Swami is part of the group. Next darshan, Swami comes. How many in the group? Jubilantly, Swami, 5. Swami says, wrong answer. No, Swami, they say 6. I'm sorry. Say, Swami, 6. 5 of us and Swami. Swami says, wrong answer. Swami says, there is one Swami for each one of you. So 1 plus Swami, 2 plus Swami, 3 plus Swami. So 10 people in the group, Swami says. So they said, okay. Third darshan, Swami again comes. How many in the group? They said, Swami, 10. Chi. Only 1. All are 1. But he keeps reminding us, don't limit me only to this body. It's a beautiful episode. I will come back to that. Professor Kasturi narrates, he writes in Loving God. Swami tells him he gets a huge settlement of pension from his previous job. So he comes to Swami with that money and he says, Swami, what should I do? Swami says, go for a pilgrimage. They go to Gaya, Kashi, Mathura, Vrindavan and come. And he says, Swami, I've come to you. Should I really go to all those places? Swami says, go because your mother wants to go to all those places. So Swami says, you take your wife and take your mother and go. And Swami very sweetly says, buy 3 tickets. 4 of us will go. He says, book 3 tickets. 4 of us will go. Because I am not limited to this body. I am wherever you are. One of the very beautiful episodes narrated by the devotees who came to Swami in the early years, 1940s. They narrate this episode. There was no regular bhajans and Vedam chanting and all of that those days. Whenever Swami would come and say, come, let's do bhajans, it's bhajans. Suddenly Swami will come, let's go to Chitravati, they'll go to Chitravati. Suddenly Swami say, let's climb a hill, they'll climb a hill. So one particular day, they were all leisurely sitting in the mandir. and they were making garlands for Swami. They were making garlands with fresh tulsi leaves. Those days there used to be a lot of tulsi vanams around Swami's mandir. So they had gone there, plucked a lot of tulsi leaves, and they were making garlands. And whenever they're doing something like this, Swami will come and say, I'll also make garlands with you. So they'll very politely tell Swami, you do some other work, you leave this to us. Right? Because they say that we are good at this, you can go and do something else. So Swami got offended. Swami said, no, I'll also do. Then Swami came up with a contest. Swami said, okay, let's play a game. Let us see who can make a tulsi garland that is perfect for my size. Right? It should perfectly fit me. Let's see who can make. So immediately they started making. Some enterprising ones came and measured Swami using twine, and they started making. But they would measure properly and make, but when they come and keep it next to Swami, it will either be short or long. The same experience Yashoda had, right? When she wanted to tie Krishna, she could never find a rope that was big enough to tie Krishna. Till Krishna said, okay, poor lady, she's not able to tie me, let me relent. So they're measuring Swami and they're making these garlands, and these are all expert garland makers, these ladies. And Swami said, useless, nobody is able to make. Swami said, I will show you. And then Swami takes leaves and starts making such expertly hands. He starts weaving the garland and no measurement, nothing. He makes it and he holds it like that. See? Perfect size. So they're all very happy. I said, yes, Swami, what is there that you cannot do? But after this Leela is over, they turn and see there is a heap of tulsi garlands. I say, Swami, now what do we do with this? Because we have made so many garlands. And Swami said, I have an idea. So he takes the garlands and he starts tying them up into a ball. Right? And very tight he ties, and it becomes a nice tulsi football. Right? The World Cup is going on. Imagine playing World Cup with a tulsi football. So Swami makes this ball and Swami says, let's go play catch. So they all go out into the open next to Chitravati. From 6-year-olds to 60-year-olds, they all start playing catch with Swami. So initially some of them complain, Swami, you're not throwing to me, you're only throwing to that person. Right? So this jealousy among devotees is very, very old, isn't it? The bell is ringing. So he said, you did not throw the ball to me. Swami, you're only playing with that person. So after some time, the commotion settles down and they're playing and playing and playing and playing. And suddenly Swami says, hey, it has become so dark. And then they realize that they've been playing for so many hours and they've lost track of time. It had become so dark. So Swami said, hey, let's go back. Let's go back and have dinner. So they all start walking towards the mandir, and everybody is unsteady, like as though they have been inebriated. They're all walking around, feeling the ground. They're wondering what happened, why is it? Maybe they're all very tired after the game, they thought. So they go to the old mandir, Swami sits down, everybody sits around them. And then one devotee says, Swami, we had such a good time. Right? We had such a lovely time playing with Swami. And then the devotee says, only one thing, Swami. Why were you throwing the ball only to me? There are so many people here. Why were you not playing with them? And suddenly another devotee says, hey, what do you mean? Swami was playing only with me. And then one after the other, all the devotees were saying, no, Swami was playing only with me. Swami was playing only with me. And then they look at Swami and said, Swami, what is this? Because we all had the experience that Swami was playing only with us. And Swami smiled and Swami said, what you experienced was Rasa Krida. Right? The same Rasa Leela that Krishna played with the Gopikas, I gave you a glimpse of that. The Bhagavatam says, one Gopika is sitting here, Krishna's arm is around her shoulder. The Gopika sitting next to her, Krishna's arm is around her shoulder. There is a Gopika sitting in front of her, Krishna's arm is around her shoulder. I am not limited to this body. I can manifest as many Swamis as required. As many devotees are there, as many Swamis are there. Right? One, he attracts, he creates that Rakti. And Swami is very clear. I have attracted. Now it is up to you to make it Anurakti and make it Bhakti. Right? As Swami would say, the magnet is attracting, the iron filings have to be clean. So he attracts, then he reminds us that he is everywhere. But he doesn't stop with that. He teaches us how to manifest his presence. There was a beautiful episode that happened in Vrindavan. It was during the Shivratri Akhanda Bhajan. Swami was in Parthi. The students of the Vrindavan campus were in Vrindavan that year, and they were doing Akhanda Bhajans in the Kalyana Mandapam. So they decided that they will do the exact Akhanda Bhajan as it happens in Puttaparthi. And Swami was in Parthi. So they all sang. A few weeks after the Shivratri was over, Swami comes to Vrindavan. And once Swami comes to all the students, Swami picks up 2 or 3 of the bhajan boys. And Swami tells them, you fellows, till the mic was on, you sang. Once the mic was switched off, you all went to the hostel, had dinner and slept. And that's exactly what they had done. Right? Poor fellows, they would have thought, let's save our voice for the next morning or whatever was the logic. But Swami told the exact time, this time, mics got switched off, you all silently got up and went away. And then Swami turned to one of the boys and Swami said, but this boy sang well. Right? So that boy happened to be an aspiring bhajan singer. So they didn't give him the mic, they gave him the late night slot. Right? That's usually the second grade singers, right? You come in the hostel, it used to be called apparently the graveyard slot. The graveyard slot for the Akhanda Bhajan. So Swami told him, the boys told him, you sing at that late night. And Swami looks at this boy and Swami says, he sang with lot of bhakti. He sang with lot of bhakti. And then Swami turns to him and Swami says, I came when you sang. This boy's eyes lit up. Swami said, don't you remember? That flower fell. When you sang, that flower fell. I came when you sang. And that boy was thrilled because he had noticed that flower fall. And that moment he thought, my God, is this Swami blessing me? Is this Swami saying that he has manifested? But then he did not tell anything about this to anyone. But Swami is coming and saying, I came when you sang. Then one of the Swami looked at all the students and said, anybody has any questions, any doubts? So one boy put up his hand. In every classroom there'll be one student. The boy puts up the hand, all the students will be terrified because you don't know what he will ask. So one boy like that. So this boy puts up his hand. And the boy asks, Swami, what do you mean by saying, I came? When you told that boy when he was singing bhajans, you came. When you are omnipresent, how can you come? When you are everywhere all the time, what do you mean by saying, I came when you sang bhajans? Swami said, very good question, very good question. And then Swami explained, If you look at it, Swami actually gave the experience of both. One set of students, he told them, you got up and went away. Right? I'm always there. I saw that you got up and went away. To the other boy, he said, I came when you sang. So Swami explained, and Swami gave a beautiful example. He said, look at this matchbox. This matchbox has fire in it. And this matchbox has fire in it, but you cannot see it. But you take one matchstick and you strike it, the fire becomes visible. The omnipresent fire manifests when you strike the matchstick. Swami said, similarly, the omnipresent God manifests when you sing with bhavam. Right? What a beautiful example that Swami gave. Another very similar episode. Some devotees in Andhra Pradesh, they decided that we should go to villages, different distant villages, and conduct bhajans over there. So as part of some birthday celebrations of Swami, they decided that we will go to 108 villages and conduct Swami's bhajans. And as much as possible, we'll go to those places where people don't know about Swami. Right? We'll go to such places and we'll do bhajans over there. So they were doing this very beautifully. They would take all the chair and flowers and carpets, set up a beautiful altar, and tell all the villagers, like this, we are having bhajans, please come. There's prasadam at the end of it. So this was going on. They went to one particular village. They set up the altar for Swami, put a beautiful portrait, put a chair, 2 handkerchiefs, put a nice silk sari on the chair. Everything was ready. One villager, just coming out of the field after finishing his work, he quickly washes his face, washes his feet, and comes and sits right in front. A very enthusiastic and inquisitive villager. Comes and sits right in front, and he looks at the whole setup. And he turns to this devotee, who is the main coordinator of that event. What is going to happen now? He asks. He says, we are going to do bhajans. He looks at Swami's photo and says, who is that? He's Bhagawan Shri Sathya Sai Baba. We pray to him as God. We are all his devotees. We have come bhajans, do bhajans for him. Why have you kept a chair? He asked. Why have you kept a chair? Why flower on the chair? Why there is an handkerchief? Why there is a footrest? So the devotee explained, see, we believe that wherever we sing Swami's name, Swami comes. And sometimes he shows his presence by a flower falling, or that handkerchief will move, or that sari will fly, or that garland will fall. Now this villager was excited. Really? Does it happen? He says. I mean, even now it will happen? He says, yes. Wherever we do bhajans, this has been our experience. Something like this will happen and Swami will show his presence. This villager said, okay. He's like, let me see. Right? Excitedly, I want to see when it happens. So bhajans start. 1 bhajan, 2 bhajan. And this villager is going on looking at the altar. Is anything falling? Is anything moving? Now this villager is becoming, now the devotee is becoming a little tensed. Says, Swami, move something. I have given word to this fellow now. I have told him with so much confidence that something will move. Move something. This villager is not even blinking his eyes. He's going on looking at the altar. Half the bhajans are over. Nothing is moving. No flower is falling. The devotee is getting really tensed. And Hanuman bhajan starts. He starts praying to Hanuman. Hanuman, tell your father to blow at least some breeze. At least let something fly on that altar. Otherwise, I'll have to face this fellow now. And as that bhajan was going, there was a gust of wind. Dhotis were flying, saris were flying, but nothing was moving on the altar. He says all the ladies were pulling their saris together, everything was flying, nothing was moving on the altar. So this bhajan got over. So now this devotee is planning his exit. He said, how do I escape from this villager now? Because he is going to come and ask me. So he says, okay, by the time he goes and takes namaskar, I'll run out like this. So as an opportune time, he just slips out of the hall and he starts going. And to his horror, he hears that villager coming after him. Sir, wait. And catches up with him. And the devotee turns to the villager and says, I'm really sorry, it happens. That is why I told you. I don't know why it did not happen today. That villager said, no, you told me. You told me a flower will fall. It didn't fall. You told me that handkerchief will move. It didn't move. You said that garland will fall. It didn't fall. You said that sari on the chair will move. It didn't move. The devotee says, I'm very sorry, sir. What do I do? It happens. And then the villager says, wait. None of these things happened. But that man in the picture, he came. He says that man in the picture, he came when you started bhajans and he sat on that chair. And this devotee asks, what did you see? And this villager who has never seen Swami, who has never known Swami's name, he starts describing all Swami's gestures. He says, Swami did like this, Swami did like this. And Swami blessed with both his hands when you finished the bhajans. And he was putting talam when you were singing. This devotee was saying, what a blessed soul you are. He proves when his name is taken, he comes. Right? Sometimes we need to be shown he comes, but whether we are shown or not, whether we see or not, he certainly comes, isn't it? It's a very simple concept. I'm saying it is simple because Swami has made this experience so simple for all of us. So many of us have experienced this in our own lives. You know, in Sanskritam, when you say pada, a word is called pada. Right? What you say a word, it is called pada. What gives meaning to that word is the object. Isn't it? I say mic. This object gives meaning to that sound mic. So what gives artha to a pada is a padartha. Right? Padartha is the object, pada is the name. So if I were to tell any object's name, if I were to think of an object which is not in this hall, and I say, let's say, strawberry, that form which gives meaning to this sound is already appearing in your mind. Right? You can already think of it. Imagine if it is associated with a very deep experience. This is scientifically also observed. Let us say I tell you an object which has a very strong fragrance. And the moment I utter that name, not only will you think of that, that fragrance also will come to your mind. Right? What is pada is always associated with padartha. But for that object, I say strawberry, if I should have a strawberry here, I need to perform some karma. Right? I'll have to go out, find a shop, pay some money. So only when I invest time and energy, that padartha can be brought here. Isn't it? Why? Because that object is not omnipresent. The thought of that object is omnipresent. but the object itself is not omnipresent. But with the Lord, He is omnipresent. So when the pada that is related to the Lord is taken, when His name is taken, He manifests. The simple example that Swami would give, and it is often given, is you just take a glass of cold water or with ice cubes, you keep it here, what happens? You find droplets around it, right? What does that mean? The humidity which I cannot see but feel becomes manifest when you do a certain act. In the same way, He is here. And Swami says, when you take my name, I come. The example that Swami would often give is Prahalada. There was a talk I was listening some time back. They were doing a drama of the scene of Narsimha Avatar. Prahalada and his father are having this argument, and the father is saying, "Where is your Narayana?" The little Prahalada says, "He's everywhere." And finally he asks, is he there in this? We all know the story, right? Is he there in this pillar? And he comes out. So they were preparing for this play. So they had rehearsed it with all small children in a school. All the children came together and they were rehearsing it. So when you rehearse a play, there is one pillar behind which Narsimha is there. Right? So the play is being staged. The final performance is happening. And Hiranyakashipu, the boy who's playing the Hiranyakashipu, points to a pillar and says, "Is your Narayana there in that pillar?" The boy who's playing Prahalada says, "No, he is in this pillar." The little boy, he knew that the actor is hiding behind this pillar. He says, "No, he's behind this pillar." And that is why, Swami would often quote the poem of Potana. When Potana describes the scene, when Hiranyakashipu asks, "Is he there in this pillar?" Prahalada says, "Indu kala dandu ledani sandehum valadu." He says, you cannot have a doubt that he is here and not there. Endu vedaki chuchina andande kaladu. He says, where you search for him, you will find him there. Right? It is not that he is in this pillar and not in that pillar. Indu kalad andu ledani. It is not that he is here and he is not there. It is not that he is in Puttaparthi and he is not here. He is not that he is in the mandir, he is not at home. Isn't it? And for that, Swami says, to manifest that presence, what is required is that Namasmarana. The beautiful story which Swami would often say is that of Namdev. I'm sure all of you know this story, just recollecting it for personal pleasure and for the sake of Satsang, where Namdev has become a devotee who is able to see and converse with Vithala. Whenever he goes to the temple, Vithala comes in front of him in flesh and blood. So everybody recognizes Namdev as this great saint who has communion with the Lord. So it so happens that there is a conclave of saints. Maharashtra is a land of saints, isn't it? So all the saints come together. Gora Kumbhar, Namdev, Nyandev, Sopan, Muktabai, all of them come together. They all want to have satsang. So Namdev tells Vithala, they're calling me like this. So Vithala says, go and come. So Namdev goes. So when they all gather, very playfully, one of them look at Gora Kumbhar, right, who is a potter. And he says, Gora, you are a potter. Nobody knows better than a potter whether a pot is baked or not. We are all pots in front of you. why don't you check if we are baked? What does a potter do? He has that special equipment like a cricket bat. So he takes that and he goes to each one of these saints and pats them on their head. He comes to Nyandev, pats, he says, very good pot, it's ready. Goes to Muktabai, Sopan, he says, good pots. Finally comes to Namdev, pats on the head and there is a thud. He says, this is an unbaked pot. He says, this is an unbaked pot, not yet ready. So he gets offended, right? Because he's a saint. He can call Vithala and Vithala comes in front of him. And here are these people who are saying that you are an unbaked pot. You are a devotee who is not yet ready. So he gets very offended. He goes back to his home. And he goes to Vithala. And Vithala playfully comes and says, what happened? What happened? You went there. What happened there? And Namdev complains. Simply they call themselves saints. See, they are insulting each other like this. And Vithala says, tell me what happened. Why? What did they tell you? And then he explains this whole thing. That Gora Kumbhar, he told me that I am an unbaked pot. Vithala is quiet. So Namdev says, what are you quiet? Vithala says, it's true. You are an unbaked pot. Namdev is deeply hurt. He says, Vithala, you have also joined them. You are also insulting me, joining them. And Vithala calms him down. He says, no. See, there's always a scope for improvement. You need to grow a little. But Namdev is very upset. So Vithala says, okay, do one thing. You go to this particular village. You need a guru. You need a guru who trains you. So he says, go to this particular village. There is a great Mahatma called Visoba Kechar. You go to him. He will tell you. He will make you a baked pot. So Namdev goes in search of this man. So they tell him, this particular village, you will find him. And they point to one tree. They say he's usually sitting under that tree. And when he goes and sees there, he sees a very weird sight. This old sadhu is lying down with his leg on a shivalinga. Right? He's lying down with his leg placed on a shivalinga. And Namdev sees that and has a shock of his life. He says, what is this? Don't you know that's a sacred symbol? How can you put your leg? So this old man says, where did I put my feet? I'm too old. I don't know where I've kept it. He said, you've kept it on a shivalinga. Oh, have I? He says, okay, do one small favor for me. He says, lift my feet and keep it where there is no God. He says, I've kept it on a shivalinga, which is holy, right? You keep it in a place, just keep it next to it where Shiva is not there. So this Namdev comes and lifts this man's feet and puts it beside that shivalinga. And what does he see? The shivalinga arises there. He says, what is this? And then he takes his feet and puts it in another place. The shivalinga arises there. Namdev, even though we call him an unbaked pot, we don't have any authority to talk low of him, right? The moment he sees this, he understands why Vithala has sent him. What does he do? He takes Visoba Kechar's feet and places it on his chest. And that moment he gets this realization, everything is Vithala. Everywhere he is there. There is nothing that he is not. And then Namdev returns to his hometown. And this time, he doesn't go to the temple. Then after a few days, Vithala comes in search of Namdev. Nama, what happened? You have not come to me. And Namdev looks at Vithala and says, you cheat. You cheated me all this while. You made me believe that you are only in that temple, you are only in this form. but you are everywhere. And then Vittala says, now that you have understood this, sing my praises, sing my name. And that is how Namdev starts writing abhangas on Vittala. And the story goes that he used to go to some distant place away from the village, sit on a small hillock or something and start writing poems on Namdev. Poems on Vittala. And his very pious wife would come searching for him and feed him lunch. So one day he was sitting on top of a hill and busy writing abhangas. He had lost track of time. So his wife comes carrying lunch, a lot of rotis and butter. Right? Rotis and ghee or butter she brings. And Namdev says, you leave it here and go, I will have when I am hungry. So the wife goes away. And as Namdev is sitting there, quietly one dog comes and catches hold of the bread and runs away. And then the village sees one of the most weird sights. A dog is running with roti and the saint is chasing that dog to retrieve the roti. He says, what a madman is. We thought he is a saint. He is running after this dog. After all, it is roti. Why can't he let that dog take that roti? But he chases that dog all through the village and finally corners the dog. And he looks at that dog and he says, hey Vittala, you brought the roti. It is too dry. I have got butter. He says, you've taken the roti and come, but how will you eat it? The butter is here. Then the dog looks at him and says, Nama, even in this form you recognize me. He says, even in this form you could recognize me. So that progression that a devotee is supposed to take is not to stop with being attracted to that presence. Not to stop with enjoying His omnipresence in our life. But most importantly, to recognize His presence in every person we see, isn't it? If He is everywhere, where is space for anybody else? If He is all pervasive, can we say that this space alone He is not there? The beautiful experience of the Bhagavad Gita, most of you must be familiar, where Krishna tells Arjuna that I am in everything. Para Prakriti, Apara Prakriti. God suffuses everything. Even the bad people that you see, God is there. Good people, He is there. I am the fragrance, I am the heat, I am the wetness in the water. So He describes this whole concept of a vibhuti. Right? That's why it is called Vibhuti Yoga. How God manifests. That is why in Indian culture, there is this beautiful thing. You see the biggest hill in the town. What is the first thing we do? We go and build one temple on top. Why? Because this is the biggest of the temples here. It must be a manifestation of His glory. The most auspicious day is to be used for prayer. The longest day, use it for prayer. Shortest day, use it for prayer. A month becomes longer, it's a very special month, pray. So anything that is glorious is attributed to divinity. That is what is called vibhuti. A very talented person, it's a vibhuti. A very talented singer, it's a vibhuti of the Lord. That supreme being is shining through this one entity. So that whole explanation Krishna gives Arjuna. He says, He's everywhere, I am everything. There is nothing that I am not. Then Arjuna tells Krishna, Krishna, I feel like seeing it. Right? He says, I feel like seeing it. Can I see it? Can I have that vision? Then Krishna says, Arjuna, you cannot see it with the eyes that you have. So let me first bless you with divine eyesight. Your charma chakshu, your physical eye is not good enough. Let me give you jnana chakshu, the eyesight of intelligence, of insight. He blesses with that sight and then gives the Vishwarupa darshan. Usually when we see in serial, it is like a tall Krishna. Right? But Arjuna actually doesn't have a vision of a tall deity standing in front of him. He says he is in front, he is behind. Wherever I see, it is him. I look down, he is there. I look up, he is there. He is everywhere. It is one continuum of a vision. Right? He sees everything and then finally he says, this is too scary. Please come back to your original form. And then Krishna says, see, what I gave you was only an experience. It is not something that you have achieved through your sadhana. That's why when he says, I am going to give you special sight to be able to experience this, in Vedanta we refer to that as paroksha jnana. Right? Paroksha jnana means you cannot see it with your own eyes. You see it with somebody else's eyes. The idea that everything is divine is not my experience right now. What is my experience right now? This is Bombay. It is an evening time. There are so many people sitting in front of me. I am speaking, they are listening. This is my experience. But I need a guru to come and tell me, the one who speaks is also divine, the one who listens is also divine, the chairs are also divine, this mic is also divine, the light is also divine. This is not my experience, but I am told this by the guru. Because the guru sees it, I see it. Right? So it's a paroksha jnana. Then Krishna says, this experience, this vision that you are having cannot be got by doing yajnas, cannot be got by doing yagas and yoga and all kinds of penance. And Krishna says, you can have this vision, jnatum, drashtum, praveshtum. You can not only know it, you can see it. It becomes pratyaksha, jnatum, drashtum, and praveshtum. You become one with that experience. How does that happen? If you have ananya bhakti. When that rakti becomes anurakti and turns towards God, when that samanya bhakti eventually becomes ekanta bhakti, and that ekanta bhakti becomes ananya bhakti, then you will see him everywhere. And like Prahalada, we can say, I cannot say he is here and he is not there. Like that, I see him everywhere. Through ananya bhakti. Swami beautifully describes that whole interaction between the great devotee Uddhava, right? One day Krishna is thinking about the Gopikas and he's telling Uddhava, I don't know how they are. I don't know how they are faring without me. They must be missing me a lot. They're very attached to me. Then Uddhava says, Krishna, it is all your mistake. Krishna says, what did I do? You did not teach them Vedanta. Right? You did not initiate them into Advaita. That is why they think that Krishna has gone away. Krishna is not here. It's all your mistake. So Krishna says, okay, you're a great jnani. Why don't you go and advise them? And Uddhava says, if you tell me, I will go and do it as your work. So that's how Uddhava goes to the Gopikas and tries to tell them about Krishna, tries to tell them that this whole world is Maya. There is nothing like God and devotee. Everybody is divine. The Gopikas say, wait. 1 minute. Whatever you are explaining, we cannot understand. Uddhava says, I will explain to you in a way that you can understand. They say, no, we cannot understand because we had only one mind. And that mind we have given it to Krishna. We don't have a mind for Vedanta and Advaita now. We had only one mind and he has taken it away. Then Uddhava is stunned. He says, Gopikas, do you realize what you are saying? That one mind giving it away totally to God is true Ananya Bhakti. He says, do you realize what you have achieved, where you have come to? And then he falls at their feet and says, accept me as your disciple. I have been doing Shravanam, Mananam and Nidhidhyasanam, reading the scriptures, meditation. I have not experienced this one-mindedness, the single-pointedness. Through your devotion, you have experienced it. They often say the experience of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, right? He's so attached to the mother. For everything, he goes to the mother crying like a child. And finally, one great Vedantin comes to him by name Totapuri. And people in that vicinity tell, have you met Ramakrishna? He is a great saint. He speaks to God. And when Totapuri comes, he sees this childlike person, so emotional, crying and so fond of food. He says, how can he be a saint? And then he tells, you should progress in spirituality. So Ramakrishna Paramahamsa would embrace anything that comes to him, right? He would dress up like Gopikas and dance. He would imagine himself to be Hanuman and do worship of Rama. He started growing a tail. So when Totapuri comes and says, you should learn Vedanta, he says, okay, become my guru, teach me. So then he makes him sit down and teaches him to meditate. So Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says, whenever I meditate, only the form of the mother comes in front of me. And Totapuri says, that is illusion, that is Maya. Ramakrishna is so pained. He goes running to the mother and he says, this fellow is telling that you are Maya. Mother, I am very hurt. And like Vithala told Namdev, Kali tells Ramakrishna, he is right. Even this form is Maya. And Ramakrishna is shocked. He said, what do you say, mother? The whole world is Maya, but you are not Maya. Your form is not Maya. He says, no, I am also Maya. So very, very disturbed by this new revelation, he goes back to Totapuri and he says, Master, please instruct me. And whenever Ramakrishna sits for meditation, he very quickly goes into a meditative state. But then the form of the mother comes in front and stops. And he keeps telling the master, I am not able to go beyond the form. I am not able to go beyond the form. Then the Totapuri says, no, you have to take the sword of discrimination and tear this veil of the mother's form. He takes a small glass piece and he pokes it in his, in this place between his two brows, and he says, concentrate there. And when the mother's form comes, take the sword of buddhi and tear it. And exactly like that, the mother's form comes, he tears it, and he goes off into samadhi. And now Totapuri is thinking, it took me 30 years to reach this state. This fellow has reached it in 3 days. That Advaitin, that worshipper of the Nirakara, he realized the validity of Sakara. He realized the validity of the Sagunopasana. Right? He says, I have done so much tapas to attain this state. Ramakrishna, you have attained. You teach me what is that Bhakti Vedanta that has given you this. I'll end with this last episode. There was this family that had come to Swami in the 1940s in Bangalore. If I'm not wrong, I think that gentleman was a commissioner of police or something like that, some very important post in the police. And his wife and the rest of the family started coming to Swami. So they were like 3 generations of devotees. Eventually the person passed away, but the grandmother was still there. So whenever they would come to Swami for darshan, they would go straight into Swami's mandir. They won't sit for darshan around the tree. Right? We all know that Sairam shed and Sairam tree which used to be there. So Swami had given that special blessing for that family. Whenever they would come, they would go directly into Swami's bungalow and Swami will call them and speak to them. So one time the whole family comes for Swami's darshan. They enter the premises of Vrindavan Ashram. This elderly lady, her name was Sitamma, this elderly devotee, she looks at the family and says, I don't feel like coming inside. From Bangalore, they've come all the way to the ashram to have Swami's darshan. She sat down under a tree and she says, I don't feel like coming. You all go have Swami's darshan and come. The family says, what do you mean? The moment we go into Swami's presence, he is going to ask, where is Sitamma? She says, no, today I don't feel like seeing Swami. So they thought maybe the devotee is upset with Swami. Maybe she's, had some quarrel internally with Swami. They plead with her, please come, please come. He says, no, today I don't feel like seeing Swami. So the family says, see, we'll go inside and Swami is going to send word. And promptly they all go inside. Swami comes to them. Swami asks, where is Sitamma? So then the elder son says, Swami, she's sitting at the gate. She doesn't want to come inside. Swami says, no, go call her and come. So the son runs. He says, Amma, come, Swami is calling you. She says, no, I won't come. So the son goes back. Swami calls Professor Kasturi. You go call her and come. Then Kasturi comes. Says, Amma, what happened? Why are you not coming? Swami is calling you. She says, no, I don't want to come. Then Professor Kasturi is pleading, Swami will come himself if I go and tell him. She says, no, I don't feel like coming inside today. So he pleads with her. He says, I will have to go. Swami will send me back again. Please save me that trouble of walking up and down. Please come. Whatever it is, you speak to Swami. So very reluctantly, this old devotee gets up and she walks and comes. She comes to Swami and Swami says, Sitamma, emaindi, why are you not coming? And then this elderly devotee, she says, Swami, from home I came. The moment I entered Vrindavan, I looked up and saw that tree. In every leaf of that tree, I saw your face. He says, in every leaf, she was a great devotee of the form of Balakrishna. Right? So she said, in every leaf, I saw the form of Balakrishna, but the face of Swami. And those of you who have seen the picture of that tree, it is a huge tree with a huge canopy. She said, in every leaf, I am seeing your form. Swami, if I come inside, I will see you only one. I will see only one Swami. But I am seeing Swami in every tree and every leaf. That is why I didn't want to come. The whole family was stunned. And then Swami told, yes, that is the experience you had. So that is the experience you had. And then Swami explained, it is not my blessing. Swami said, I did not bless. It is your Namasmarana. And then Swami said, it is because what you do every morning. And then Swami described, this lady had a very interesting way of doing Namasmarana. So where in Bangalore this family was staying, there were a lot of tamarind trees. So those tamarind fruits will be fallen down. So this lady will go around collecting all those tamarind seeds. So she had a cloth bag in which she had collected all those tamarind seeds. So after she finishes all her household chores, she would come and sit at the gate. She will empty all the seeds on her lap. She'll take each seed and say Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, and put it back into that bag. Swami said, for how many years you did that Namasmarana? That is why you are having this vision. Maybe because she used seeds she saw in the leaf. I don't know how that works. And Swami said, because you called my name so many times, so incessantly, for so many years, you had to have that experience. Many times when we were in Puttaparthi, we used to sit during darshan. We used to read a lot of Upanishads, Advaita Vedanta. We used to discuss about Ramana's philosophy. And Nisargadatta Maharaj, who used to be here. Hi-fi philosophy, right? We used to be sitting in the hall, discussing and exchanging knowledge. Somebody would have read some book and they'll tell us. So one time we were discussing, we are the biggest hypocrites. Because we are sitting in Puttaparthi, one day if Swami doesn't see us, we'll be crying. But we are sitting and talking about Advaita. Right? One day if Swami doesn't take my letter, Swami, what did I do? What sin did I do? So one day it occurred to me, he said, that is devotion, there is no doubt. Right? As Swami said, I make you cry. I met one former student from Nepal. He was a bhajan singer and Swami used to talk to him every day. And suddenly Swami put him through that dry patch when Swami was not talking to him at all. Almost one full year Swami didn't talk to him, or one full semester Swami didn't talk to him. And finally Swami came and broke that silence and started speaking to him. So when he went back to the hostel, the other students came and said, thank God Swami spoke to you. I said, why? Why are you saying that? Because he said, Swami was not talking to you, but every other day he was coming and asking us, is that boy crying? How is that fellow? Is he missing Swami? Is he praying for Swami? Does he cry? Does he cry that I am not talking to him? Right? Swami created that pichi, right? Nothing short of madness. He created that madness in us. But then it occurred, if I really am being pained that Swami is not talking to me, there is one Swami who is sitting inside my heart, 24 hours he is not talking to me. How much pained I should be. Right? 2 hours darshan a day, he doesn't speak to me. 24 hours, I am his only devotee. Right? The Swami inside, he doesn't have to speak to anybody else. 24 hours, he is keeping silent inside. Should I not be crying for that? The day we start craving for that presence within, that is when we will really come to his omnipresence, isn't it? And that is what Swami did to Radha. Swami would narrate that beautiful episode, just like what happened to Sitamma. Right? The most attached to Krishna. So towards the end of Krishna's avatar, Krishna says, let me go and see her at least once. Let me go to Radha and give her one final audience. Final time, let me go and speak to her. Krishna comes in searching of Radha, and Radha is sitting at the banks of Yamuna, lost in contemplation. She's just looking at the river. And Krishna, the little prankster, he goes and pounces from behind the bushes. And he says, Radha, I'm here. And Radha looks at him, gives a faint smile, and turns back. And Krishna is surprised. Radha, I have come. Krishna, I have come. Are you not happy? Then Radha asks, what do you mean by I have come? What do you mean? And she runs to the Yamuna, picks up water. Krishna, tell me, are you not in this water? She rushes to a creeper and looks at, are you not in this creeper? Are you not in this flower? She looks up at the sky. Krishna, tell me, are you not in that sky? where are you not? And Krishna says, for the first time I'm standing in front of a devotee, unable to give anything. He says, ask for something. Do you want something from me? Ask for something. She says, I don't have anything to ask. Don't you want my love? She says, even that I don't want. Krishna says, for the first time I'm standing in front of my creation as a person who has nothing to give. Right? That is the true arc of a devotee. Yes, we all have experienced that craving for Swami, missing Swami, but the ability to manifest Him wherever we are, and this knowledge. Is Swami in this room? Yes. Does Swami fill the space of this room? Yes. If Swami fills the space of this room, where is space for you and me? Isn't that an illusion? That is why they say, when you learn that that same Lord who is in me is everywhere. Krishna tells in the Bhagavad Gita, a very beautiful, he says, he says, Yomam pashyati sarvatra. A devotee says, I don't want to leave your presence. Swami, I don't want to move away from you. Krishna says, Yomam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam cha mai pashyati. That devotee who sees me in everything and sees everything as contained in me, he cannot be distant from me. I cannot be distant from him. So to this question, Swami, how do I always be in your presence? If you see me in everything and if you see everything in me, even I cannot distance you from me. Right? We have beautifully titled this series as Divyanubhuti. Right? This is as I said, we all have been given that experience of Swami's omnipresence in our own way, in our own life. But that experience should be our natural state. That paroksha anubhuti should become aparoksha anubhuti. Isn't it? That which has been every now and then Swami is showing me a glimpse. Swami is there. Oh, here also Swami is there. Swami is with me. Right? When you're traveling in a flight, if the chair next to you is empty, Swami is with me. Why, if chair is not empty, Swami is not with me? Even then he is there with me. So that anubhuti which he gives us should become aparoksha anubhuti. My own experience. Then it truly becomes the Divyanubhuti, isn't it? With these thoughts, I conclude. Thank you very, very much for your very, very patient listening. I can't thank Swami enough for giving me the opportunity of standing here and thinking of him. As I always say, it's only 1.5 hours or 2 hours satsang for you. In gathering thoughts for a satsang like this, he gives us days of thoughts of him. Right? That is, I always say that Swami must have thought, this fellow needs this job to think of me. This fellow needs this work, only then he will think of me. So it is Swami's blessings on me, and I thank the Swami in each one of you for giving me this opportunity to think of Swami. Thank you. Jai Sairam.
Sairam. I'm really speechless because the only way to explain the realization of the divinity how you can express its mauna vakyam, absolute silence. And dear brother Prem Anosh, you have been absolutely fantastic in intertwining this topic of from presence to omnipresence in such a wonderful, vivid way, citing so many examples, so many anecdotes. We are extremely thankful that you have chosen to come here and share your experiences. All of us are great fans of yours. We have heard so many episodes that you share in Radio Sai, and we are thankful to Swami for sending you here. Give him a big hand, please. I think if I were to personally summarize the takeaways, especially for me, the way you put Rakti, Anurakti, Bhakti, Ekanta Bhakti, Ananya Bhakti, so beautifully explained by you. The story of Namdev and how Vithala made him realize that by him seeing that saint who had put his foot on the Shivalinga, and everywhere that saint put his foot, Shivalinga emerges, making feel that he is present everywhere. So where can you not find God? He is everywhere, everywhere. Finally, you also cited Bhagavad Gita so beautifully. Jnatum drishtum pratyaksham. So beautifully, he concluded that you have to reach that Ananya Bhakti. The story of Sitama was absolutely mind-blowing. The reason being that she used to do continuous Namasmarana or Bijakshara Manta she used to cite, and that could give her the vision of the Lord in all the leaves. And she didn't want to miss seeing the vision of so many Lords by having a physical darshan of Swami. So beautifully explained, interlinking the topic from presence to omnipresence. And finally, I think one of the takeaways we could have is Swami has always been insisting and saying that Namasmaranam is the easiest way to salvation in this Kali Yuga. And you have brought this point in so many words at so many times that the best and easiest way is to chant God, the name of the Lord continuously, so that you identify the divinity everywhere, immanent everywhere. And one thing really touched me is Swami is a Hridyantaranga. He is residing in your heart. What happens if that Hridyantaranga is not able to speak to you, or you are not able to speak to him when you are looking for God everywhere else? He is very much the indweller. So that point was beautifully brought out by you. Thank you so much, Brother Anush. Give him a big hand, please. It's our turn to offer a token of love to Brother Anush. May I request our District President, Shri Vinay Mehrotraji and Krishna Kumarji to please come here and felicitate Shri Prem Anosh. Krishna Kumarji? Cake नहीं है? Yeah. and Brother Anosh. This is a blessing from Swami. It's an idol of Shirdi Sai Baba. Today's Aarti will be performed by Brother Anosh, Mr. Kishore Thakur, and Hridyan Shah, the Managing Director of Girnar, who has come here. We are so happy about it. And on the ladies' side, may I request Prem Anosh's sister and aunt, Meenakshi and Dharini, and Uma Mahesh to please perform Aarti, please.
जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक पति महेश्वरा ओम जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकर सर्व प्राणपते स्वामी सर्व प्राणपते आश्रित कल्पलदीका आश्रित कल्पलदीका आपद बांधवा ओम जय जगदीश हरे मात पिता गुरुदेव मुमरियन्त्ययुनीवे स्वामी मरियन्त्ययुनीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नागेन्द्र शयना ओम जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी ओ साई महादेव सत्य साई महादेवा मंगल आरती अंतुको मंगल आरती अंतुको मंदर गिरिधारी ओम जय जगदीश हरे नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा ओम शांति 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 समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु ओम शांति 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 जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की परमं पवित्रं बाबा विभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूतिं परमार्थमिष्टार्थ मोक्षप्रदानं बाबा विभूतिम् इदमाश्रयामि परमं पवित्रं बाबा विभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूतिं परमार्थमिष्टार्थ मोक्षप्रदानं बाबा विभूतिम् इदमाश्रयामि परमं पवित्रं बाबा विभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूतिं परमार्थमिष्टार्थ मोक्षप्रदानं बाबा विभूतिम् इदमाश्रयामि लीला विभूतिम् इदमाश्रयामि साई विभूतिम् इदमाश्रयामि ओमार्पणं ब्रह्महविः ब्रह्माग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्मकर्म समाधिना अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहमाश्रितः प्राणापानसमायुक्तः पचाम्यन्नं चतुर्विधम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः